Class 91.3 FM in Accra and affiliates across the country. If you're listening in the Volta region, this is OFM 92.5, Dagban FM 102.5. It's also picking the bulletin live in Tamale. We are live on Radio 192.1 in the Upper West region. We are live on Radio Power 96 in Spain, and around the world you can join us on classfmonline.com. On this afternoon, President Mahama turns down a state visit request from South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, citing growing concern over xenophobic motives.
Now, some people describe it as a toys fit for museum locomotives. It's unfortunate that a system that could not even operate passenger rail or line today has the nerves to criticize a good vision of getting our logistics quick.
Many thanks for your time with us this afternoon on 12 Live here on Class 91.3 FM. My name is Charles Akrofi, and this afternoon I'm here with
Veronica Amade.
We're starting off with some international relations issues, and of course it's got to do with the relations between Ghana and South Africa. And already you do know that there are some concerns with regards to some xenophobic attacks in the South African country. Now, President Mahama has declined a request for a state visit by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, citing the growing concerns over xenophobic attacks targeting Ghanaian nationals and other African migrants in South Africa. Diplomatic sources in Accra and Pretoria confirmed to Class News that the decision was taken after a recent wave of anti-foreigner violence in parts of South Africa, which has led to the repatriation of about 1,000 Ghanaians, with hundreds more reportedly awaiting evacuation. Let's get to the phone lines and have a conversation, an expert conversation, of course. We are joined on the lines by Farouk Al-Wahab, who is an international relations expert. Mr. Al-Wahab, thank you very much for your time. First of all, what do you make of the decision by President Mahama to decline the request by the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa?
Well, I mean, it's better late than never. The president actually had voiced out what diplomatically we call it, I'll call it a pitch on the face. And for that matter, on the face of the South African president, who ideally was just coming here. It's just only one will call it cosmetic diplomatic approach to please Ghana. That is very much concerned. Indeed, that is not. Now, I was looking at the bigger picture, as I've mentioned on your program earlier on that some days ago, that the African Union must have such a stand and do what is called, they should have ignored South Africa with regards to all participation on African conferences, etc. And they should have turned even the South African table at the Congress of the Ethiopia office. They turned the table or the chair to say that if even there should be something, he's not allowed to come there. And of course, he's a rep. It's in Ethiopia. Now back to President Mama's own. One thing that he failed out to do, which is not too late, and maybe through your medium, one would also get to know that the moment that you turn down other presidents' request to visit you, Ramaphosa was rather inviting himself and asking Ghana to respond. Not Ghana inviting him. He invited himself diplomatically and then trying to table or request for a visit to come and do what? To visit President Mama, to come and do what? To discuss about the xenophobic attack, to come and do what? To come and discuss about the Ghanaians who are already being repatriated. So if we've already repatriated over 1,000 and some more, and they are still facing dangers, earlier on the first, second, third day of the issue said that the best thing to do, you have to recall your head of mission. So if Ghana could turn down practically the visit request by Cyril Ramaphosa, the next thing the Ghana government is supposed to do, immediately follow up to that. You don't close down the mission because we don't have any diplomatic uproar. We don't close down because we don't have any challenges as far as the mission staffs are concerned. But the head of the mission, who is of course a politician who was sent in there, or if even a career diplomat, in such circumstances, diplomatically, you have to call your high commissioner. So President Mahama, in fact, this is the best one that you can open your eyes and spit for your colleague, your counterpart, or your fellow president, that I will not allow you to come because I'm angry. You can't say that to him, and your high commissioner says there. It's not done that way.
How about
sorry?
How about let's look at the other side of the coin. So over the period, we've had cause to concern about what is happening in South Africa, and here we are with the South African president calling on President Mahama for first a state visit and hopefully to discuss the issues. Shouldn't the president rather be thinking about discussing the issues and finding a middle ground in terms of bringing some finality to bear? And shouldn't that supersede any other interests?
Well, let me tell you, the president has advisors, but beyond that, president don't just get up and take decision without knowing. The point is that what have been the approach and the attempt that the South Africa government before coming to Ghana has put in place out there? Has he approached the Ghana High Commissioner? He is coming. Why is he single out Ghana being the first country to go? Nigerians are more than us. Why is he not going to Nigeria? He's looking for a diplomatic stand. And Ghana is the Switzerland of West Africa. Ghana is the Switzerland among the ECOWAS and among the nations of African called the AU.
Very well.
So he's just only trying to jumpstart his diplomatic contacts through Ghana. That, if Ghana allowed him in, then he will have access and the leverage to go to the other places. President Mahama is saying no. So if you are talking about he coming would afford or would enable him to have a discussions, does that one stop the thousands still waited for repatriation? Answer is no. Has he done anything to those people who ignited and who started the trouble? Have you seen any of them, Jacinta and his colleagues? Have you seen any of them already imprisoned, standing before trial, sentenced, convicted? For you to show that, and so if he comes to Accra, the first question President Mahama will ask will be, where is Jacinta? Who started the whole episode? What have you done to that young girl? Is she all before court? What happened to the other gentleman? Are they before court? So if you haven't done that, what are you in Accra here for? In fact, let me tell you, there is no point of President Mahama tolerating the visit of His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa. Because some of us, we've said and we know that that is the only way to stop, to divert attention of his already pending court issue over the £4 million in billions of rands that were found on his market, on his farms.
Mr. Awahab,
yes, sir.
Just for the sake of clarity, and then do this for me briefly. Did I hear you say that the president cannot decline the request by the South African president and still have his missions there in South Africa?
That shouldn't be the case. The president, when you decline a country where you are hosting your mission, your high commissioner sits in South Africa. The mission, they have not expelled, and there's no expulsion in this regard from South Africa, the Ghana mission go. But if you are rejecting a visit by the president of South Africa to visit Ghana, it means that you've gone overboard of your tolerance level diplomatically, call your patience at already, you've exhausted all the local remedy. If you exhausted all the local remedy of your patience, the only thing you can do, you've rejected his visit, you should also call out your missionary.
I see. Right. Let me thank you for your time this afternoon. I'm sure the conversation can go on, and thank you very much this afternoon for your time with us on 12 Live.
Most welcome. Boss.
Right. So that's Farouk Awahab. He's an international relations expert, and of course he says that once the president has declined the directive, or I should say the request by the South African president for some state visit, then in the first place, you have no business having your missions there. This is 12 Live on Class 91.3 FM. My colleague Kwame Ochi Jr. has been doing some more digging as far as this development is concerned, and he's joining me in studio so that we can have a conversation with regards to this development as we have it now. Kwame, shocking, I should say. Even though a lot of people have said that it is important for the president to do this to send a certain signal to the South African government. But what more have you been digging out as far as the development is concerned?
Well, just like you started with the conversation, we're picking the reports that that immediate trigger leading to the decision comes on the back of the killing of the Ghanaian national. Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs named the victim as Bashir Ishaq, a 40-year-old gentleman, saying saying he was shot dead in Cape Town. That's on Monday, June 30, 2026, during protest tied to a deadly set by the anti-immigration group March for undocumented migrants to leave. But South Africa disputes this account. You recall the Western Cape Police and Minister Mamkolo say the shooting happened a day earlier. That's on Sunday, the 29th of June 2026, at a barber shop not in Cape Town, as was reported by the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
It happened at a barber shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that it was an armed robbery extortion attempt, and not linked to the xenophobic attack currently what's happening. But not linked to the demonstration. Well, Kubai has accused Ghana of spreading false narratives and urged Accra to use official diplomatic channels rather than public sentiment. So in early May, 5 Ethiopian migrants were killed in Johannesburg, and 3 of them shot inside McDonald's. Human Rights Watch documented vigilante attacks on South Africa and Asian nationals through April-May, citing a weak police response. Then Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto announced plans in mid-May to evacuate roughly 300 citizens and an earlier repatriation wave than the 1,000 figure in the current story. South Africa's Foreign Affairs Ministry responded defensively with Minister Ronald Lamola engaging Ghanaian and Nigerian counterparts directly and invoking Ubuntu and Pan-African solidarity, while South Africa's government pushed back on the framing. So this is where we are now. We're hoping, just like our hub said, we're hoping to see some more conversations as far as this issue is concerned, whether or not President Mahama or the government will rescind this decision.
Kojo, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. And that's my colleague from the newsroom, Kwame Otri Jr., and of course, host of 505 on Class 91.3 FM. This is 12 Live with me, Charles Akrofi, and Veronica Ama there, who is bringing us the latest and the next story. Vero?
Let's do some flooding stories, because the Flood Mitigation Task Force led by Brigadier General Foster Yeboah has earmarked the demolition of several buildings obstructing waterways in areas including Damfa, Oyarifa, and around the Tessa Dam near the Boundary Road. The decision followed an inspection of key water retention ponds and flood-prone communities by the task force. The team included Deputy Chief of Staff Stanislav Dugbe, Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing Kenneth Ejay, and Commander of the 15th Engineer Brigade Brigadier General Richard Kine. Among others at Oyarifa, the team found that a developer had constructed apartment buildings over a natural water course, blocking the channel. Another developer had also diverted the natural flow of water uphill, increasing the risk of flooding in the area. The Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Kenneth Ejay, is calling for public support as the task force moves to remove structures built in waterways.
That of engineering part, government is ensuring that we do it. What we are going to also tackle is the behavioral part. And we plead with Ghanaians that when we get there, we need their full support. What I mean with the behavioral part is where people have built in waterways. The last time during the press conference, General mentioned that in places that we need to demolish, we have to. We all know what we witnessed some few weeks ago. We don't want it to happen again. So when we get there, we need the full support of Ghanaians.
Class 91.3. The team also inspected dredging works at the Peshi Lagoon, where the 48th Engineer Regiment is clearing silt and debris, as well as a major storm drain along the Teshi Bush Road near the IGC Temple East in Accra. The exercise forms part of government's post-flood mitigation measures after it directed the Ghana Armed Forces to lead efforts to reduce flood risk and restore affected drainage system. Here is a coordinator of the Flood Mitigation Task Force, Brigadier General Foster Okanyebwa, speaking.
We can't stop the rains. So based on that, we conducted some recce to places like Dampa, Oyarifa, places like Oyarifa, New York Junction, the Peshi area and the Boundary Road area. And then after that, we decided that we're going to conduct operation such that we'll tackle the discharge, the source, before we come to the cause of water bodies. So as we speak, we've started some work on the dredging, and the silting is ongoing. Yesterday, we did some work in Okaikwe North just to silt some culverts. So going forward, we'll tackle the discharge area, which is the case. We'll dredge those areas. We'll come upstream, the foothills of the mountains, tackle some water retention areas that people have built on, and then we'll tackle the cause.
You heard a connector for the Flood Mitigation Task Force, Brigadier General Foster Okanyepua.
12 Live, you're on Class 91.3 FM. Let's get to Kumasi in the Ashanti region now, because 13 people have been arrested and arraigned before the KMA court for various sanitation offences following the reintroduction of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly's enhanced sanitation enforcement exercise, popularly known as Saman Saman. The initiative forms part of the Assembly's effort to address poor sanitation and promote cleaner communities across the Ashanti regional capital. During an operation at Dichemso, a suburb of Kumasi, a sanitation task force made up of military personnel and KMA sanitation officers inspected homes, shops, churches and hospital or hospitality facilities. The exercise uncovered heaps of waste in some compounds, while several gutters were found choked with plastic waste and silt, obstructing the flow of water and creating potential health risks. Joining me very shortly, we would be speaking to the public relations officer for the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. But let's take a listen to what happened indeed when the Saman Saman group, so to speak, effected the arrest earlier.
Yes, so far we have arrested some people. We are currently sending them to the court for further legal action to continue. And so what we are saying is that it will continue unabated. We have made several announcements, especially in these communities. Area that will be visited will continue with the announcement, telling them to keep their environment clean. When we come around and we identify any nuisance, it means you have decided not to abide by our notice, and we'll take you on that. Some of them, accumulation of construction waste, which wastewater has, the stormwater has washed into the drain. Some have accumulated refuse and burned them. Some have their frontage very untidy. And so these are some of the issues that we have identified. One particular area that we are concerned has to do with the accumulation of construction sand, where people have accumulated them right beside drain. And then when it rains, everything washes into the drain, thereby blocking the drain. So we are taking all of them on to make sure that the Lord deals with them accordingly. Yes, what happened was that their frontage was dirty. And we have made an announcement that everybody must keep the frontage clean. It has taken us about a month or so to do that. So we met a lady, we asked her to follow us, and she was not prepared to follow us. And so we had no choice than to force him to follow us to the court to answer why their frontage. Even we went back and came and met the nuisance there. We were thinking that even after confronting her, they would have cleared everything there. But we went there for about an hour and came back to meet the nuisance there. So that's why we are taking them on. Oh, obviously you have people resisting, some making unsavory comments, but that we are used to. And so we are doing our job. It's part of our job. Yes, so far I think that some have complied, but you know that definitely you have some recalcitrant ones. So those are the ones that we are dealing with.
And that's Kweku Opoko, who is an environmental officer, health officer at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. We're working on the phone lines, and hopefully we'll be joined on the lines to speak to Amon Kote, who is a local governance expert, to understand what really, the importance of this exercise. Of course, you recall that it used to be the case that we had town council officers, tour our communities to ensure that people actually adhere to sanitation laws. But let's get back onto the phone lines now, shall we? And have a conversation with the public relations officer for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ankra. Gilbert, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time with us on 12 Live. So first of all, this is what we are witnessing in Kumasi, the reintroduction of Saman Saman, or the town council system, if you like. What should we know as far as implementing similar laws or similar moves here in Accra is concerned?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And on behalf of the mayor, we want to say good afternoon to your cherished listeners and viewers. As a city, the mayor, Honorable Michael Papalote, understands the need to ensure that enforcement becomes key in whatever we are doing as an assembly. Hence, immediately he took office, he realized that the assembly needs to put its sanitation court in shape. As I speak to you now, our sanitation court is in shape. The AMA has its own sanitation court now. With the issue of tankage and the environmental health officers, within the AMA zone, it is something that they've been very, very operational. And over the years, we've seen how they even moved along with sister stations to ensure that we enforce issues of sanitation and food safety within the city. So on Wednesdays, for instance, they normally move out to do the enforcement activities. But that notwithstanding, as a city, the mayor, Honorable Michael Pakwalote, appreciates whatever they do. And as a result of that, last week, for instance, the mayor presented some medical equipment to aid their work, especially as the flood is in, to ensure that issues of food safety is key on the agenda. The AMA sanitation officers, the tankers, the Sama, for us, they are very, very active here, and maybe very soon we are going to see their rebranding with respect to putting on uniforms to move out in the city. But they are very, very active. For instance, in the month of April alone, they've been able to prosecute over 42 sanitation offenders. And the mayor has stated that persons who are found littering, you can take videos and send to them. So it is the environmental health officers of the assembly who normally follow up and then pick up some of these offenders for prosecution.
I see. Gilbert, let me thank you for your time this afternoon with us on 12 Live and wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me.
So that's Gilbert Ankra. He's the public relations officer for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And of course, you're listening to 12 Live on Class 91.3 FM. My name is Charles Akrofi, and I'm here with Veronica Amade. What more do we have? Before then, though, before you bring in your story, news just coming in has it that as far as the recruitment exercises into the various security services as we have it is concerned, you do know that they conduct certain tests for potential recruits or potential persons who want to join the service. And what we understand or we are learning from the corridors of Parliament is that the Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has revealed that some 1,300 persons out of the tests conducted have contracted HIV. How true is this? Of course, this coming from the minister. It is something that we would actually be delving more into in subsequent bulletins. But let's take a listen to the minister when he addressed the House early today.
Honorable Chair, thank you. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to ask, we're talking about recruitment and people not going through as a result of drugs and all that test. What I want to know is, these people that didn't go through because they detected drugs, were they actually informed? Because as a member of Parliament, you know, you get people coming to you saying that, oh, I didn't go through and I didn't know why I was rejected, I don't know why, and they keep chasing for you to do something about it. So were they actually told that because of this reason, you are not going through and then you better go and change your life or something? Thank you.
Well, we in fact, I remember it's here when we were discussing the argument. Let's send them the results. And then I remember, the recent recruitment, we had, I think, about 1,300 or so that were on HIV. And then they said, can you imagine sending somebody a resource, telling the person that you have HIV? That's not the procedure. The person has to go through some orientation. So one of the things that we did was simply to say that when you get disqualified, you are given a contact to reach out. Class 91.3 if you are interested in knowing the details. Then when you call, then they assist you to let you know. Because interestingly, some of the things that we realize are treatable. So people need to know and then also get treatment so that subsequent recruitment they could join. So you need to know, it's of interest for every person that got disqualified to be interested in knowing what was the cause. So that
dismissing claims that the equipment are outdated. The MPP's Minority Transport Policy Committee criticized government's acquisition of the 2 refurbished diesel locomotives and 20 freight wagons, describing the equipment as toys fit for a museum. The party questioned the age, costs, operational history, and long-term value of the locomotives, arguing that the refurbished British Hill Class 56 engines could come with high maintenance costs. However, the Ministry of Trans has defended the acquisition, explaining that the locomotives underwent intensive refurbishment, including upgrades to the engines, electrical system, braking system, and safety features before being brought into the country. Let's take a listen to the minister.
Now, some people describe it as toys fit for museum locomotives. It's unfortunate that a system that could not even operate passenger rail or line today has the nerves to criticize a good vision of getting our logistics quick enough to the ports and out of the ports. They are not toy locomotives. They are economically viable locomotives that will service our logistics industry.
You heard the Minister for Transport, Bukari Nipe. Let's do sports with Osborne.
Class Sports. Get it first.
All right, so let's do some sports now. The National Sports Authority Director General Yao Ampufu Ankra has expressed his frustration over the lack of investment in football pitches across Ghana following the circulation of viral images showing the state of Babayara Sports Stadium playing surface. Ampufu Ankra questioned how the Ghana national team has utilized the financial rewards and from its participation in the FIFA World Cup since 2026. Now, in other sports stories, Spain knocked out Portugal out of the 2026 World Cup yesterday with a tight 1-0 victory. Here are some excerpts from the game.
Position around the edge of the box.
We're into the
But that's how we wrap up 12 Live. But before we leave, though, are you ready to reveal your fortune? Reveal Scratch for Win is here to change your life for good. So you just want to dial star 850 star 5 hash and win 1 million Ghana cedis or more in cash prizes instantly. It's easy, it's exciting, and it's regulated by the National Lottery Authority. So once again, you want to dial star 850 star 5 hash. You choose your station to play the game, i.e. Class FM. Select stake amount between 5 Ghana cedis and 2,000 Ghana cedis. Choose your lucky card out of 5 options. Confirm gameplay and enter your Momo pin. Receive your game results and winnings instantly. It's easy, fun, and exciting. So get ready to scratch, win, and live your best life with Revolt Scratch for Win. Up to 1 million Ghana cedis up for grabs. So the short code one more time is star 850 star 5 hash. Revolt Scratch for Win. Scratch keke. Lady Sika say bam. T's and C's apply.
Electroland Ghana Limited is giving you weekly and monthly big rewards when you buy Samsung, TCL, Media, and NASCO electronics anywhere in Ghana and from any authorized dealer or reseller. Just buy your LED Smart TV, split AC, double door fridges, auto grill gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwaves, blenders, mobile phones, and more from Samsung, TCL, Media, and NASCO, and dial star 928 star 8888 hash or go to register.electrolandraffles.com to enter our weekly and monthly draws. Electroland Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way.
And on that note, we wrap up 12 Live here on Class 91.3 FM. Always a pleasure serving you. My name is Charles Akrofi, and I did this with
Veronica Amade.
Always remember to visit classfmonline.com for some more stories. At 5 o'clock, you want to join Kwame Otri Jr. and the team as they delve into the day's big issues with expert analysis right here on Class 91.3 FM. Up next is the afternoon business review. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.